Okay, guys, if you guys have any other questions in regards to what I'm showing you, there will be also another trading video um, based on what you guys see here, which is a different type of forecasting, which is, of course, the bot that you guys get. I'm going to include that in a separate video where I show you how to trade this type of structure, the buy and sell tags, and how to identify these EMA lines. I'm just going to show you guys the Bollinger Band here. If you haven't done any research on Bollinger or Dow or GAN, I highly recommend that you research that stuff. I draw these white lines to kind of just show you where I'm thinking that the market's going to go. You are not to follow these white lines. I'm just draw them up as a general purpose. But I'll show you in a more detailed way. Now, one thing that you can see here is when the Bollinger, these two white lines here, this is the Bollinger Band, and price is sitting inside the Bollinger Band moving sideways, you can start to identify market cycle lows. When the Bollinger expands and price moves up, you can see these are the Heikin-Ashi candles, and they start to hug the upper side of the Bollinger Band. When price starts to deviate from that, you can start to exit. Again, when we get some turnaround in the market correlated to Bitcoin, you can start to enter your trades and again, exit your trades. I like to see the Bollinger Bands move sideways. These are good ways for me to identify that when the price spikes up, you guys can see that here. You see this green candle, how it just likes to bite through the Bollinger. And there is some resistance here. This green line is the 55 EMA, but I do like to see the Bollinger sitting sideways because it helps me say that we are going to turn around in the market, especially when the market is in consolidation phase and these candles really start to bite through the EMAs. The 200 EMA is still kind of rounding off here. It's suggesting that we're going to go bearish, but that's not a reliable indicator for me. These cloud indicators, again, they're just there as a way for me to look at certain things. Okay, but the cloud is really not a true identifier. But what you'll want to see in the cloud is you can see the Bollinger has been sitting kind of red here, and then suddenly it swaps to green on the on the cloud, and we start to see this big green cloud. We are looking for the same thing here, say in Solana, where it just bites green. The cloud will start to turn green, and then the cloud will start to expand, and the cloud will get bigger. And when you watch these candles, again, it's a different trading method, but I'll show you guys that in another video. Any questions so far based on what I've shown you guys?
Yeah, Chris, could you go over the kill zone entries in your style? Because I know there's a couple of different styles in how to enter
Sure.
using your.
Yeah. So for me, I like to trade the 512. So the first thing you have to understand is that when it comes to the 512, I like it because regardless of this bigger price action that happened, I'm still confident that we need a turning point 9. So if I start to see, based on the lower time frames, that we are heading up like this outside this kill zone, I like to enter my trades. So I bought down here in these areas. And regardless of this downswing, you can see that we still need the turning point. So there's still lots of profit here. For me, that's the long-term thing. Sometimes I will trade the 32 if I see that there's going to be quite a bit of compression, okay, in turning points. So we can look at a 32-minute chart, for example, and see what that looks like. Oops, over here. Okay, where there's a lot of compression. Now, you can see here, there's a ton of compression. So what does that mean when there's compression? A big market move, okay? The kill zone, you know, it can really help in certain instances. But again, what I'm looking to identify is compression of turning points with a big market move. That's usually the times that I trade the 32-minute. And I don't care if price is being tested by the kill zone. So what that means is if we look at this particular one, okay, we had it come right up to the 2.5. Okay, so here you saw it kind of come out and it came down to kind of what's called retest the kill zone. Some traders call it testing of support, you know, all this kind of stuff. The wonderful thing about, you know, again, forecasting is that you can start to identify turning points, okay, based on the quadrant that it's sitting in and the potential of that turning point. So for example, this one, I had a turning point possibility here at 100% time, which if you started to see it come outside the kill zone, you could accept that trade or place your trade. You know, some guys would have got wicked out here because they thought the price was going to keep coming down for turning point two. But we had a good turning point here. You know, it came up, you could have taken some profit here, but I also had another take profit point way up here. Why? Because just purely based on time and the way it traveled up the fan line. Some guys get really spooked out by this whole thing, you know, like how come it's stopping or, you know, this kind of stuff. If you look at this specific trade, I put this on TikTok. It came outside this fan line. You see here? Okay. I'm not going to describe the fan lines to you guys, but just it came basically outside this fan line and still ended up on this fan line. You can see that there. Just give me a sec, you guys. Yeah, talk to my son. Sorry about that, guys. So it came outside this fan line and traveled out and still relatively respected the fan line. You see that here? And so I would have taken profit in this area, right? I'm entering here, I'm exiting up here because the likelihood that the turning point would come in later was a little bit more likely. Why? Because of this compression. You guys, the things that I explain here takes a long time to practice that. You know, you cannot just assume that you're going to know this kind of stuff right away. It takes practice, you know, and being in the markets for a long time, trading a long time. But when it comes specifically to the kill zone, you know, it's a good idea to have confidence in your forecast. So you could have still made money, say from here up to here, right? Exited a trade because you didn't know if price was going to deviate down to turning point 4, right? We had a very, very late 3 and a very late 5, right? 5 loves to kind of stick to the middle of the cycle. But again, the volatility of Bitcoin, you know, it still likes to pull down. And again, I don't really trade Bitcoin too much. I will futures trade it, but I will not actually trade on spot with Bitcoin. I like to trade the altcoins and accumulate them and then sell out of the much bigger green candles. Okay, even here, as you can see price action, although I have a fan down, and we're going to look at this, you can see that my turning point, it's hard to identify now where 5 is because it's just hugging this arc here. So this is not even a good forecast. It could be that turning point 5 is not done. Why? And you guys will identify that with me, is because I have the much larger time frame that determines what? Trend.
Uptrend.
The uptrend. So because I have this target, could it be that 9 finishes here? Yeah, just hold on a sec. Sorry, guys, my little guys. Okay, so again, the higher time frame is suggesting that we still need turning point 9. Could 9 finish here? Yes, we want to have our turning points fit within a cycle period. So it could be that 9 is going to finish here. We come down for 10 and we continue for 1. But regardless of 8, 9, 10, because I'm saying that we're going to head on uptrend on the higher time frames, I will just stay within my trade. I will not exit my trade until I see the much higher trend turn to the downside. Regardless of the 32 being, say, incorrect, or it's not a really good forecast, right? So we still need turning point 6 to come in. It's a mathematical probability that 6 has to come in at some point. Could it be that we get a late 5? Yes, it can. Okay. And if I see that my higher time frames are suggesting that we're heading up, I won't pay too much attention to the scalp side of things, because I can get that turning point wrong. It's not hard to get it wrong. We hit our forecast this morning. So our forecast was much higher. I just wasn't paying attention to the 32 because I'm stuck in my trades. And that's good. I want to be stuck in my trades. I want to see I want to see before we get a rejection what that looks like. But again, if I were to say take turning point 8 up to 9, I can choose whether or not to take profit, because we will see some downside. But based on the higher time frames, I like to wait for the spike. I don't care about this downside action. I hope that answers your question. Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop this video here.